Hello all, very good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. So thank you for joining. I know this it's a Friday, so even I feel very lazy today, but but yeah, we have to learn, right? Like we cannot be lazy. Though it's a Friday, I know we all might be tired and we need to jump into the weekend. So, some might even have some travel plans. So how many of you have some travel plans? Raise your hands this weekend. No one? So how many of you, okay, one I can see, that's good. So how many of you have some learning plan or something related to your career or something you want to see related to learning, some course or maybe whatever we have been taking that you want to revise this weekend? Anyone like that? Planning? Great. That's really good. Yeah. Because see, whatever we are seeing in this course, right? Like by just seeing that, you won't become experts or you won't be good at what you do, right? After you see what I am teaching here or what I am trying to teach you, the concepts also, whether the hands-on part. So hands-on part, what I suggest is at least when I show one thing, you need to do at least 2 to 3 times before you attend an interview or before you showcase that skill to anyone, because that is the only way you will remember what you have been doing. Okay, that's one thing. Second, the concepts. So whatever concepts we are trying to learn, right? Like for example, last week we were discussing on what the servers, right? What's a server and what's the need of a server and all. Today also we'll be continuing from there only. Uh, so what you can do is whatever concepts theoretical we are seeing, that also you can go and read in depth, right? So that way you will have an in-depth knowledge also. Maybe let's say from this course you're getting some 100, right? If you go in again catching that tail, you go ahead, right? Then that 100 will become 300 for you before you end this course, right? So maintain that sort of proactiveness. It will really help you all in this course. Okay, so that's good. But yeah, obviously, spend good time with your family in the weekend, and also take care of your health. Read some book. Nowadays, this trend of reading summaries have become more common than reading a whole book. So how many of you prefer summaries? Anyone? Like this blinks and all no are available. How many of you read that? Okay, how many of you have habit of reading books? Maybe raise your hands. Ah, that's really good, Pushkar. Yeah, Bhanu. Because nowadays we are slowly losing that habit. Okay, great. So yeah, so see, books and digital, there is a lot of difference. In book, when you read, you have that imagination, right? This I say to everyone. Let's say you are reading a book of Shivaji Maharaj, or let's say you're reading any technical book also, anything, right? When you are reading that, you imagine, right? But when you see a video on YouTube or when you see some very visually appealing content or on online, right? What happens is you see that through their eyes, right? For example, when let's say I'm reading a book or biography of let's say Ratan Tata, right? So I imagine maybe not Ratan Tata, little let's go back, right? Like maybe Shivaji Maharaj, right? So when when we are reading the biography of Shivaji Maharaj, we might imagine Shivaji Maharaj in one some face, right? Like we will give that face to Shivaji, which is our imagination. So each story, everything that happens, we will be imagining in our mind also when we are reading. But when we see a video or a movie, we don't do that. We will just see what the director is showing us, right? So that imagination, if you have to improve that creative side of you, that innovation, right? Innovative mind of yours, then book reading helps a lot, right? So do make it a habit of reading book. And summaries are useful, but sometimes full books are important because to get that whole essence. So especially some if some books are there which are giving you some practical experiences, right? what that author went through, or some practical things. So read the whole book. If it is like something which you need only the essence of it, which is like you need just the high level way what you need to do, right, or something like that. So summary will also suffice, right? So what I'll suggest is reading books actually has benefited me in my career in many ways, right? Not only the technical skills, but also the soft skills, public speaking skills, many, right? It's really useful. So do give it a shot, okay, and make it a habit this year to read at least 10 books this year. Okay, so that will be a good number to achieve this year. Right. So coming back to our JMeter, just wanted to start with something energetic. It's a Friday, right? So don't want to bore you all also with too much. Yeah. So any doubts anyone has from last sessions? I can quickly take one or two questions and then jump into the topic. Anyone? Any doubts? Okay, great. So last week we were discussing about servers, if I remember. My screen is visible to all, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we speak about servers, okay, so what is a server? Very quickly, I will recap what we saw last time. So server is like a software, right, whose job is to serve you something, right? Like for example, a browser, mobile app, or an API client, okay, is a client basically, okay, and that client will ask the server, and the server will respond based on what it is. For example, I gave you the example. Let's say now I have a locker, and let's say a guy is standing here, and if I give the correct password to this guy will give me the cash I need. But if the password is wrong, this guy will not give me the cash. So same thing. So so server is basically what here server is this, client is me, right? So I'm asking the server something, but if you're what I am transacting or what I am trying to give the server is not correct, then server will not give me back. Okay. Now, so let's say I have a client again. So in this case, I will consider a browser and I have the server. So where is my application code running? Where is my application code running? Anyone?
Server.
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 And
My
server.
application code is running in the server. And where, so generally in the software world, right, like people sometimes call this as, they divide it in this way: browser this end, right, this sort development or this interface, we call it front end, and this they call it back end. So when I say server, see, server is a software running on this machine. But in performance terminology, generally we call directly a server, okay? But actually this server can be further divided into some parts, right? Like we have web server, app server. Then we have the obviously the backend code lying, right? And then we have the DB server, which is specifically the server software for DB and the database, right? So this way it will be. Okay. So, but in all this included, we call it as a server, just to make it simple. Okay. Because I am sending the request and I'm getting the response back. So the browser is requesting the server to give something and server is responding back. That's the response. So I have the request and response, right? So now inside this, there are multiple different components. Okay. Out of which server is the, I mean, like web server, app server is a software running, but all together we call it as a server in the performance testing world. Okay, because ultimately we worry about the request and the response. Inside this, we go only for the analysis, right? When the scripting or in that sense, right? When we see, it's just a black box, right? We send a request, we get the response, right? So that way we consider, right? So and we call it a server. Okay. before the analysis starts. Obviously, when we go to analysis and all, we have to break down what these things, what is inside this server. Okay, right. Now, before I jump into what's a request response and all, let me explain um, what are the different types of servers. Okay, we have. Can someone call out some few of them that you have heard before? Anyone? Give it a shot.
So is it like the app server, web server,
Exactly.
or
Yeah, exactly.
and proxy server?
Yes, right. So app server, web server, then we have the proxy server.
CDN
And
server.
okay, so these are some important. Even we have something called a database server, because generally these servers will not handle the database. Database will be handled specifically by the DB server, the database server. Then there is an API server, right, for handling APIs specifically. Then there is some cache server, load balancer, and all those. But yeah, anyways, but the main is this five: app server, web server, proxy server, DB server, and the API server. So let's take this app server and web server together, okay, and try to understand why. There's a reason why I'm taking this together, okay. So we have the app server and we have the web server. So why do we have these two different types of servers? Okay. So see, app server is little typical, or what does an app server do, right? It actually runs the business logic. Okay. So business logic is run by the app server. So when I say business logic, what do I mean by that is some login logic or calculations or some processing an order, API logic or handling some sessions, right? All these things will come in the app server. But when we speak about the web server, what web server does, right? It mainly serves the static content. So it can never calculate. For example, 1 plus 1 app server can do. 1 plus 1 web server cannot do. Okay. So when I say static content means the HTML, CSS, then JavaScripts, then the images, videos, these things it can serve. Okay. But
So I would like to interrupt. Sorry. So
good.
my understanding is like the app server will do the business logic and whatever the output is in the format of HTML, CSS, JS, it will be provided to the web server and then web server will serve it
Exactly.
to the
Yes.
client. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So web server is the most closest to the client, you can say. Okay. Yeah. So now let's assume now, okay, now let's come to the app server, right? So app server is basically where your code actually runs. So when I say code actually runs, it can be PHP, it can be Java, whatever the coding language you have been using, right? So that will run actually on the app server. So app server is responsible for running that code. Now the beauty of this is, so web servers, if I call out some softwares which are web servers, right? Nginx is a web server. Apache HTTP server is a web server. Then there is something called an IIS. IIS is also a web server. So these are some web server softwares, right? Now, if I come to the app server, we have again Tomcat. Now, this Apache Tomcat is there, right? It actually acts as both app server and web server. So that's why it's very widely used. Okay. Because it can act as both web server and app server. It can serve the static content as well as run the business logics. Okay, so that's why it's very widely used. Apache Tomcat. Then WebLogic is there, WebSphere is there, JBoss. These are all app servers. Okay, so ultimately, how it happens? No, you let's say you have a browser. You send the request. First, it will hit the web server, then the app server. Then let's say you will have the DB server. and then again the journey returns back. Okay. So whatever I am sending, I am requesting. That's why it's called a request. Okay. And whatever I am getting back processed is called the response. Okay. So what happens? Just imagine like this. Okay. So in the request, let's say I am uh, clicking on a button. Okay. Button login. Okay, I'm clicking. I have entered the username and the password. Okay. So what will happen? This username password will go till the app server. Now app server needs to check whether this username is there in the DB or not. So it will go into the DB server and DB server will send that data to app server. Now app server will do some logic operation that your developer has done, right? It will check. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's say the username that DB gave is encrypted. Now app server will decrypt it and check whether both are matching. If it is matching, password is also matching. It will give this to the web server. Now web server, what it will do? Now let's say whatever data it got from the app server, let's say it's saying login successful, is in, let's say, simple Unicode text format. No styling, no colors, nothing. Okay, it's just a simple text. Now what web server will do based on the HTML code written, it will apply the styles, it will apply the look and feel, and then final response will be printed on the browser. Are you getting the journey? Able to imagine? All of you? Can I get some yes? Okay. So now let's do one thing. Let me go to Amazon.com. So when I say HTML, okay, style, what do I mean by that? Okay, let's try to see that. So now see this one. Okay. If in this one, this class is there, right? I just delete. What happened? Anyone observe what happened? I'm doing it again. For example, this one, okay, this thing I'm touching, okay. Now this is the look, how it is. There's a white background and there is a text written on it, right? So what I'll do, no, I will just go here and let's say this class is there, right? Let's say I delete. What happened? Did anyone observe?
Background change.
Yep.
Correct. So the background gone, right? It was actually, there was a white background. Now there is no white background because that class that I deleted is actually from the CSS, right? But these things, everything, the CSS, this HTML, everything is happening on the client side. You are able to change by just changing this code here. I can just delete and just change because this is all served by the web server. Okay. Everything is static. I can do anything I want. If I want, I can just, let's say I go to this image, I will delete it. See, gone. Image is gone. Let's say I go here and delete it. It's gone. But can someone say, when I delete this, is it really gone from Amazon or it's gone from my
No,
browser?
browser.
Only my browser. It's local, right?
Only
Nothing
browser.
happening,
Yeah.
nothing happening on that main server side. It's all on the client side, local to me, right? As a user. So this is actually coming, this thing, right? This HTML code, the whole code, this CSS is coming from the web server. Now you will ask me what is coming from the app server or the real server. So for that, if you go to network and let's say, if I just show you this request here, I'll reload once. So this thing, right? This is coming from the server. Okay. So if you go to the response for this one, you can clearly see the response. See, it's a code. Okay. And this code, actually, this response is coming from the server. It is not coming from the browser or web server or client, right? It is coming, it is actually the calculated, after all the calculation, after all the processing, it has sent me this. Okay. Like 1 plus 1, 2, right? So that 2 it has sent. But 1 plus 1 is not there with me. It's not there anywhere. That it will not show, right? That code, how it did 1 plus 1. it will show only that result, that 2, right? So that you are seeing in the response. And this is the thing through which real and the response that it will get, right? It is show what it will do. So it got 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Now that 2, what it will do, it will put it in HTML wherever it needs and it will show. For example, this thing is let's say coming from the app server after calculation. Now what the developer of the front end will do, they will just put that variable in that HTML. So whatever will come in between that HTML, that variable value, whatever style is applied, it will show. So that's how the whole thing works, right? On the app server, web server, and the browser. Clear all of you? What I'm trying to convey here?
Yes.
Okay, this is very, very critical. Okay, we need to understand what's a client, what's a server. Very, very important. So now coming to the server request. So this is one important server request that we have. There are a lot of other requests, as you can see. There is images, style sheet, JPG. Style sheet is your CSS basically, which I am saying, right? Which is actually putting these colors and all colors and this is big title, this is small title. All these are CSS. Okay. Then JavaScripts are there. JavaScript handles this clicks and all. Okay. If I click dismiss, it's gone. So that's a JavaScript. So that is coming from the script files. The script you can see. But all these things are actually getting processed in my browser. That's why if I go to the script, for example, and if I just open the script, okay, I can see the code directly, the script code. See, so because this is this is a JavaScript that has to run on my browser, so it is visible to everyone. Which and this also will not contain anything confidential or anything very critical. Okay, it will have only things like button click, pop up or something like that. Okay, those things. Now let's say if I go to my main request here. So this is document. Okay, type. So if I go inside that, if I go to preview, I can see only the processed preview. I cannot see the code here. Okay, what is that code written? That C code or the Java code or the PHP code? I cannot see that because that processing happens on the server side. After processing, whatever is, it's more sort of like biryani has been cooked and biryani is served. If that is the case, can you figure out how the biryani was made by just seeing the biryani? Hello, all of you, trying getting what I'm trying to say? So you cook the biryani, right? And you hand it over to your friend. Now, can by just seeing the biryani, friend say how do you cooked it?
No.
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 No, right? Same thing. So this is the cooked biryani that you're getting. But what is the process of cooking, right? Like what all he did in the background. So here in our case, it's the server. Is the code, basically the Java code or the PHP code. That is not visible to everyone, right? That is on the server side. So that is why in performance testing, if you see, no, these things, right, the script and whichever is running in your browser, you don't worry much, or generally you can say you don't test. Can someone say why? Whatever runs on the browser, I generally don't no need to do or no need to test. Can someone say why? We will go in depth regarding
Because you
this.
are not testing the browser performance. That's why. Client performance. You
Yes,
are testing only
exactly.
the server.
Let's say there are 100 users, okay? 100 users. If I say in terms of browser, how many browsers are there then? How many browsers will be there?
100.
100 browsers.
100.
If I say in terms of server, how many servers will be there?
One.
One.
One server. This is the main reason, right? If as your number of users increase, your browser will also increase. Both are increasing, right? So your resources are also increasing parallelly as the number of users. So browser performance generally will be once you fix it, it's done. You don't need to keep on checking it always. But server is only one. For 100 users also it is one, 500 also it is one, 1000 is also one. So whether it can perform well for whatever number of users we need is important. That's why server is important for us. Not browser is not that important for a performance tester, right? But yes, browser becomes important, especially when you do a UI testing. Okay, that I will explain you in the upcoming sessions. So what we do generally is there is one performance plugin here, right, in the dev tools. This is more sort of like a UI testing sort of thing. Okay, and if you go to Lighthouse, okay, there is one Lighthouse that also provides you a good insight into the UI parameters. So for example, if I want to analyze the UI, I'm not going in depth today, this one, we'll go on later. I can click on analyze page load. So this is specifically UI, the browser side. Okay, it will give you the metrics and all. If you want to improve any, for example, some images are heavy, right? Your load time will increase. That is because your image sizes are big, or your JavaScripts are taking more time, right? If you want to reduce, but all these things, once you fix it once, it will not change much. Okay, so see, if you see the performance score of Amazon, it is only 44, right, for the UI, but they are not much worried about it. Can someone say why?
Yeah, same reason, right? One user will be using one
Mm.
like.
Can you say, like, do we need to say that Amazon didn't do UI testing? Because the good score is 90 to 100. You can see below. Our score is in the red. It's in the 0 to 49 range. Let's say, let's say I go to some other website also. Okay, something which is very small. Okay, just so that I can show you the comparison. So same thing I'm doing. I'm not changing anything, and I'm clicking on analyze page load. Okay, I'll explain what this lighthouse is. You need to know how to read this report and all. We will be discussing that. Okay. See, it's 97 and this is 44. And Amazon is a big company. All of you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
So by the first look, anyone will feel, oh, this is a disaster. Or someone, maybe Martuza is thinking, oh, I can give a proposal to Amazon. Is it? So
No,
let's
actually, here the number of resources are more to be loaded at the browser side. That's why the score is low.
exactly,
In the other
exactly.
website, the resources are very low. The images, the JavaScripts, everything, the content.
Exactly, exactly, right? So, see, the thing is, we have to trade off sometimes, right? Amazon is a very big application. There are a lot of images coming, loading, JavaScripts are there. On the UI side, it is very heavy. Okay. So, the score generally they would have optimized for some value. But here there is one more catch. Okay. Whatever score you are seeing, right, might not be the. Can someone go on mute if you're not speaking? Yeah, thank you. So see, whatever they have tested it, right, like might be on a system which is maybe better performance, right? Like for example, now in my system, there are a lot of extensions, Chrome extensions, which might slow the websites down. Okay. Not the server side, but I'm saying on the browser side. So users system also affects the browser. So there are a lot of variables, right, which will affect the browser. That is the again the reason why in performance testing, browser is not we don't that much worry about the browser because there are a lot of issues that can, I mean, a lot of variables which we cannot control, right? We do it on a predefined variable, predefined set, and that's done. That's called UI testing. We do it and done. But what happens on my server, right? That is in my hand. Can I say that? Because servers configuration, servers resources, everything is defined by us. Can I say that?
Yes.
Yes. So that is
Yes.
what we will define or we will test, we will validate, we will approve, we will optimize. That is why server side performance testing is what we do or we focus more on. Okay. Right. So this UI testing thing will come back, Lighthouse, what it is, and see, actually it will show you a lot of first contentful pain, largest contentful pain, total blocking time. The significance of all for all these things, not as a performance perspective, I will say, but as a performance tester, or if that word performance only if we take, right, we need to know a few things, right? Just as a, I mean, like know to basis, because if someone asks some questions from UI testing, at least we should be aware about these things are there. So we will be seeing this, okay, as we progress in the sessions. Okay, coming back to where we were.
Vishnu, why it is red, Amazon? Because it is a big organization, so definitely they will do accordingly performance testing
Correct.
based on the
Yes.
users.
So there are multiple reasons. As you can see, the first reason is my browser itself. There is some issue, right? For example, it has a lot of extension showing, right? That is one thing.
Mhm.
Okay. Second is if you scroll down, render blocking elements lot you can see. Right, but now the thing is, see, they would have optimized and took it to somewhere around 70 or 80, right? They will not target 90 because 90 is for those applications which is very light. Okay. So
Mhm.
they would
Mhm.
have targeted maybe 80 plus. Okay. But that will be for a predefined set of the browser. So what they will do, no? For example, they're 60 to 70% users. They fall in this criteria who have this CPU, this RAM, this. So they will set up the same environment and they will test and approve. Now what happens? These variables will change, no, based on the user. So in my case, it is coming 44. Maybe in the testing what they did, they would have got 80. That is why I said whatever you test will not be similar when you are testing the UI. But performance testing, what you do will be pretty much same because that's your server performance. That will not change based on the user. Are you getting?
Yeah, okay. So suppose server side response time is 5 seconds, but in realistic scenario, client side it will be more because
Correct.
as
Yes.
some additional attributes are there. So we
Exactly.
should
Yes.
do take some tolerance before giving to the client. Either we are getting 5 second response time from the
Yeah.
any tool.
So that's a very good question. So what we do generally to quickly answer your question, we actually validate and approve the server only. Browser generally we will not, even the response time also, whatever SLA, the service level agreement, again, for whoever are freshers and all, what is SLA and all, I'll explain. But for now to know, whenever you get an SLA, that also will be on the server side or the request, right? Each request or each APIs. So that will not affect your UI. Are you getting, Pushkar?
Mhm. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. So
So
NFRs
suppose client
generally,
sometime ask, yes,
yes.
Vishnu.
No, no. So NFRs generally will have that split. Okay. So generally they will, you will be approving the server only mainly.
And sometimes client if ask like give me the client side matrices
Yeah.
like
Yes.
for
Yes.
particular this transaction what is the response time
Correct.
apart from server side, so how can we give that?
We can do. We can do that. We will see. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, right. So the thing is, it's a 40-hour journey also, right? Like we cannot club in everything together, but whatever I am able to do, able to give you little high jump also based on your curiosity, I'm trying to give. But don't worry, if anything you're not understanding also due to that high jump, whenever I use some word and all, everything step by step, I'll be clearing. Okay, so don't need to worry anyone. Okay. Okay, right. So now coming back to our web server, app server. Okay. So now coming here, so we know now we have the request, we have the response. So we have the, let's say, the mobile app or browser or whatever, the client, and we have the server. Now, it is very important for us to understand what do we mean by this request response, right? It is very, very critical in performance testing also, in any testing, even automation also, you need to know what we generally mean by this request response, right? And to understand this better, we also need to understand something called a protocol. Okay, that's what we will see next. Now, let's say when I say request, request can be anything. request to log in, request to order something, request to update my name, request to whatever. Okay. So whatever I do, like say I'm logging in, that's a request. I am clicking on this product, it's a request. I am, let's say, adding to cart, it's a request. Whatever I click or whatever I'm trying to do with the server, I'm requesting, right? It's a request. Whatever I'm not doing on the server, for example, let's say I click on this one. This is, can someone say, is this a request? This click? Am I requesting server anything?
No.
No. This is purely happening on your browser using JavaScript. Nothing is going in the server side. Okay. So this is basically not a request. It is a JavaScript click or Ajax request, or you can say JavaScript request. Okay. Now let's say, but when I click on this, what is happening? Actually, from the server side, that product details are coming. Will this product detail be there in your browser?
No.
No, right? It has to come from the server, right? The price, the updated name, maybe the updated address, whatever, right? So this is a request. So whatever server is needed, right? Like wherever you server is required, right? That's a request. Okay. Now coming to, so this request is also, there are various types. Okay. So that is where protocols come into picture. Okay. Now what's a protocol? So let's say I am staying in India and I am staying in US. Okay. So let's say Pushkar is in US and Nivedita is in India. Now let's say Nivedita can maybe I don't know. Okay, something like she can go in a bus. Maybe bus can stop in between also. Okay, not on the stop. Bus not on the stop, but still it will stop. Okay. In US, it is not stopping. Okay, it will stop only in the stop on the bus stop. Okay. Similarly, let's say Nivedita walks on the left in India. In US, let's say right. Some examples like that. Some rules. Okay, maybe here when Nivedita goes to office, okay, her timing is 9 to 5. In US, Pushkar's timing is, let's say, maybe 12 to, as per the labor rule, I'm saying. Okay, just example, I'm saying 12 to 8, something like that. Now, based on the country, India and US, rules are different. Can I say that? The rules they follow. Let's say in US, you can keep the gun. In India, you cannot keep a gun. Can I say that? Rules are different,
Yes.
right? The law, the rules, whatever is different. So same thing, right? Now, let's say I have the road or the traffic rules. And I have the, let's say, civil rules. Are both same? So civil rules means like traffic rules means like you have to follow the left side, you have to follow the red light and all those. No, civil rules means like when you are you cannot maybe when you are on the road you have to not road, when you are at the home you cannot keep disturb your neighbor, right? So says civil rules. Are both same, traffic and civil?
No.
No, right? So one is for the road, one is for the home. Let's say like that. The same way, based on what you are doing on the internet, also you have rules to follow. Okay, because internet is a global thing. Even it's not a country. Okay, it's a global. So every country, every people who using internet, every application that is built on internet or using internet, right, has to follow rules, right, based on what it is doing, based on its on road, like we saw, right? On the road it is different, on in home it's different. Similarly, in internet, what you are doing, based on that the rules change, and that rule we call it protocol. Okay, internet protocol. So for example, let's say I am sending a file like Nivedita is sending a file to Pushkar in US, okay, from India. So the protocol, this file will go, okay, or this file will be sent to Pushkar is by following a protocol. Can someone say what protocol?
File transfer
FTTP.
protocol.
Exactly.
FTP.
Yes, FTP, right? File transfer protocol. So what do I mean by that? So based on file transfer protocol, there is some rule that it should be written this way. The request should be header body, some structure they have mentioned. Okay, internet has mentioned. So that structure it has to follow. Okay. So if it doesn't follow this structure, like when the developer is making the code or creating the API, if they don't follow this structure, your request will fail. Even the internet itself will not accept it sometimes. Okay, because the structure is not correct, right? Similarly, let's say I'm sending an email. Can someone say what the protocol will be?
SMTP.
Exactly.
SMTP.
XMTP. Now this S has some meaning. Okay, even SFTP is there. So S is for secure. Okay, we call it for secure. So there is normal FTP, there is secure FTP. S is for secure. MTP is mail transfer protocol, secured mail transfer protocol. Generally, in emails and all, S is used, okay, default, because emails has to be very secured, right? Even FTP sometimes they use because when you are sharing in organizations and all internally, FTP is safe, but SFTP is more preferred when you are sharing across the organizations and all. Okay, so similarly, now coming to the main point. Now my server is there and my browser is there. They are also sending and receiving, right? Can I say that? They're also sending and receiving. When I open a web,
Yes.
Yes.
like Amazon.com, I'm opening. So they are also sending and receiving, right? They're sending a request. Sorry. Okay, this is browser. This is server. They're sending a request. They're getting a response. So such activity, right? Where these web services are there, websites and all. We have HTTP, which is called Hypertext Transfer Protocol, right? So this is for this web services, mobile applications and all, no? They use this HTTP protocol. And if you add S, it becomes HTTPS. S is again for secured. In this specifically, in this HTTP protocols and all, we call it SSL. Okay, so I will explain you what is an SSL soon, okay, in the upcoming sessions. Yeah, so that's an HTTP protocol, and HTTP is very widely used, not like SMTP, FTP, and all. Very widely used, as you can know. No, like if someone asks me what's an internet, maybe they will say first to use websites, right? Then only they will think about files, emails, and all those stuff. Right. So HTTP is a very widely used protocol and it's very strongly secured protocol also. Okay, because there can a lot of misdoings can happen in that protocol, right? So that's why the whole globally the standards are very high for HTTP protocol and they maintain it very well. Okay. So the structure of HTTP protocol is very important. Okay. So if you are sending a request which is not following the structure, it will fail. Okay, so that structure we will see soon. What is a URL? What's a path? What's a body? What's a parameter? What do you mean by headers? Right? What's a body? All those things we will see. So structure, right? A specific structure for this. Similarly, APIs generally follow HTTP protocols only. They also fall under these categories. Okay, REST APIs. So there are SOAP APIs and all. We will discuss that later. Now coming to, so based on what you're sending, right, there is a structure. And if the structure is not correct, it will fail or that request will not at all go in uh, the network itself will not accept it. Okay. So as a performance tester in JMeter, if let's say I am using JMeter, I am sending a request. Do I need to follow that structure properly or not? Whatever the protocol. Do I need to follow that properly? Is it
Yes.
same as browser? I mean, like, does the rules that apply to browser apply to JMeter also?
Yes.
Yes, exactly, right? Because it's a protocol, right? It is irrespective of what tool you are using, what it is using. If it has to go through the network to the server, it has to follow the structure. And this is one main reason why when you script, right, most of the time your requests fail because people forget about this structure. They make some mistake in the structure. In browser, it will work, but when they pull it into JMeter, things go wrong because of that structure, right? They would have changed, they would have updated something by mistake. So there are that structural change will cause that request to fail, right? When they're using JMeter. So this dilemma happens. Like it's working in browser, it's not working in JMeter. And we will try surely see why that happens and what all you need to take care, right? When you're scripting, and it should not fail in JMeter if it's working in browser. Okay. So my one question to all of you have. So as a performance tester, when I am working on a script, okay, just assume I'm working on a script. Should I check that request first in the browser or directly in JMeter? Where I should check it first? If I'm
Before
working
scripting, we should check manually that complete
Browser.
end-to-end
exactly
browser is working.
on the browser. If see something is not working on the browser itself, then obviously it will not work on JMeter, right? So first step is always you have to test it on the browser. Test means like you have to open it on the browser, or let's say if you are using API on the Postman, right? Postman is a tool for APIs. So wherever it has been tested or it has been run by the developer, you have to run it there first. Then only you have to come to JMeter. But sometimes people what they do to cut short or the time, right? Shortcut. They directly pull that into JMeter and try to run and they see it's not working. But then they go and check the browser. Browser also it's not working. So it's not the problem of the JMeter. Actually, that request itself you got from the developers is wrong. You come to know, right? So these are some procedures you need to follow, right? Some standard. So as we script and all, you will come to know, okay, or automatically, step by step, when we do things, you can just remember that steps. So automatically things will not go wrong. Okay. Okay. Now coming to so that's that we like the HTTPs that protocol. Okay. Okay. Right. So before I jump into JMeter again, yeah, any doubts anyone has till what I took? Anything?
So Vishnu, one person has asked in interview like
Yeah.
HTML. Have you worked on the HTML protocol? So
HTML is not a protocol, it's HTTP.
uh,
Yeah. HTML is a
yeah,
language.
it might
Yeah.
it might be he was asking HTML rendering, I guess.
Might be.
Might
Yeah.
be I
Yes.
missed the word.
Exactly. Yeah. Because HTML is a language. Its name itself is markup language, right? So HTTP, he would have maybe he would have thought asking HTTP, maybe he would have used HTML word. Might be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I search on the Google, so I got that whatever we request to the server, then parallelly server sends some files in
Mm.
HTML format. So
Yes.
something,
Yeah. Mm.
so that
Exactly.
is,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So indirectly we are doing HTTP testing, but parallelly internally it is happening HTML web pages, right?
No, see, don't confuse both. See, HTML is the language in which that application is written, right? To show and all. The request is basically, it's more about, um, it's that one plus one, two, right? That one plus one, two is what you're getting through that request, that HTTP, right? But the how to show that two in front of you, whether I should
Mhm.
show it big, show it small, or show it in some red color, blue color, that is HTML. Are you getting
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Yeah. And no worries, see, all these things we will learn slowly, again and again when we speak, right? And when we discuss, things will be more clearer. This is just your starting point. So many of you might feel it little hard to digest some points, and that's totally expected, totally okay. But after 20 or 10, 15 or 20 hours, right? Like as we connect again and again, when we do hands-on and all, things will become more clear to all of you. Okay. So no need to get worried that I'm not understanding something, or oh, something is becoming. These are all very, very small concepts or easy concepts. Just you need that direction to so I'm trying my best to show it practically or through some practical examples and all. And if at all you don't understand, also after a few days, also you can always come back, right? Asking me that this is not still clear. Okay. Now coming to JMeter, very quickly I wanted to show something. Sorry. Yes, let me reload. There are a lot of things coming on the way. Okay, like we need to understand what's a scenario, what's a flow, how do we define, like how to choose a flow, right? How to choose a scenario, how to create an end-to-end recording test. Here we are using just one request, but generally in real life a user will not be doing one request, right? After login he will go to a product, and after product he will add it to the cart. So you have to do that whole flow, right? So all those things we will be learning. Okay, so it's yeah, so now let's say this is one request I have here. What I'll do now, instead of, okay, 10 users is there. It's fine. Don't worry, all these things I'll teach you, what I'm saving and what I'm doing and all. We are still in the basics now, okay? So don't worry at all. Okay, so our request is going, let me add a summary report also. Okay, so this green basically what you're seeing here, right? In the results tree. Results tree is actually a listener. I'll explain what are listeners and all. Listeners are basically, you can say, like to visually see what is happening, right? There are various listeners. There is graph listeners and all those. Now here, this listener specifically results tree is to check what we are hitting and what we are getting, right? All those things. So basically green means it's working. Okay, I will explain what they are, what's the status code and all. Yeah, so now the thing is, here if I do one thing, instead of this get method, right, I just make it post. So this is what I mean by the structure. So the structure of your request has to be proper. What is expected? Otherwise, it will fail. See, automatically my request failed. Failed means it's not going to server at all. Okay, that's the meaning of failed. Because I changed something called the method here. Actually, the expected method was get for this request, but I made it post. So it failed. See that important the structure is. Now this might look like a very straightforward thing, method, but let's say if some cases you might have a body, right? Or you might have some other data, parameters, body data, some files might be there. If anything, or even the header, right? For example, this headers, all these headers, if anything is missing, right? And there's one more thing. It's not that all these headers are needed. There might be some headers which is not needed also, right? So such sort of structural idea we need to have, right, of the request. Then only it will properly work in JMeter. And that comes from your browser first. So first, if it works in browser, it will work in JMeter. That's how the recording is designed, right? Pulling into JMeter. If it doesn't work in browser, in JMeter, it will not work. Okay. So yeah, any questions, anyone? Okay, yeah, so this might be our last open to all session. And now we will, from Monday, we'll be continuing in our private group, which is already created. And many of you are already there in that group. So, wishing you all a very good weekend and a very good career ahead. Hoping to meet you all in private group. Let's see. But even if it's some other case, also, I'm totally fine. I was really lucky that you all gave me the time, your valuable time, and to share some knowledge that I have, maybe some guidance also. And I hope these days were valuable to all of you, and I am hoping the same in the upcoming days also. It should change your lives in one or the other way, right? So that's my expectation. At least I should, generally in my batches, I get these messages, right? Like when they switch and all. I want to hear many of you switching your organization, putting me some good messages saying, as I said this, right? Recently, one of my student from US, right? He joined Tesla with almost, it was a very good package that he got. And he's into this performance optimization engineering and all. So he was very happy for that. And yeah, so such things, right? Like such good news is do share with me. I'll be really happy. And I want to also, I mean, like, make you that worthy, right? So that you can also grow in your career, in your organization also. Not that you need to switch always, right? The visibility in your organization, how to improve, the techniques that I teach you, how to maybe like as we proceed in the sessions, right? I'll also teach you how to handle the management, right? The how to handle some toxic clients and all. It's very easy actually, right? Like we will be learning all this just whenever we get time, some 5-10 minutes and all. We'll be discussing, and yeah, it will be a great journey. So, but yeah, again, wishing you all a very good career ahead and be in touch. And yeah, thank you all for joining. Have a good day, good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.